Humans swallow liquid hotter than living blood. That statement violated every law carved into my memory. I laughed when I first heard it. Only parasites survive temperatures like that. No intelligent creature willingly poured internal death into its own body. That was my first mistake. Vecker. Third brood observer. Species designation. NYR. We evolved in oceans colder than frozen metals. Heat was poison. Warmth meant infection. Steam meant evacuation. So when the new human entered the Galactic War Academy carrying a small metal container that constantly released white vapor, I marked him as terminally ill. No one corrected me. That was my second mistake. The Academy trained future officers from 131 civilizations. Deathworlders were rare. Humans were rarer. Most species preferred studying them from orbit. Safer that way. The instructors called the human Lieutenant Mason. He never raised his voice, never rushed, never reacted when cadets whispered behind him. I concluded he was socially weak. That was my third mistake. Every morning, he performed the same ritual. Wake, exercise, stare toward Earth's distant star, prepare the steaming liquid, drink, then smile. Patterns comfort intelligent minds. I believed I understood him. Humans required hot liquid before functioning. Perhaps it activated dormant organs. Perhaps they suffered daily neurological failure. I proudly recorded my theory. Several professors even read it. None laughed. That should have warned me. Instead, I grew confident. During tactical chemistry class, the vapor escaped his container again. The classroom temperature instantly felt unbearable. At least to me. Cadets nearby moved away. The air shimmered. Thermal sensors flashed amber. The Voro cadet beside me hissed. His container is leaking. Another student sealed his breathing vents. Someone activated emergency cooling. The human noticed. He looked confused. Then, embarrassed. I'm sorry. He closed the lid. The steam vanished. The room relaxed. See? I thought. Primitive species. Unable to control dangerous biological dependence. I noted another observation. Humans apologized before displaying weakness. Useful information. The instructor announced a 10-minute break. Instant chaos. Cadets flooded into the central courtyard. The human followed quietly, still carrying the metal container. A circle slowly formed around him. Not out of friendship. Curiosity. The Academy had only one human. Everything he did became entertainment. A towering Krell cadet approached first. 8 feet tall. Armored skin. Acid saliva. Champion wrestler. He pointed toward the container. What survives inside? The human blinked. My coffee. Nobody understood the final word. Translation implants failed. Unknown concept. The Krell sniffed the rising vapor. His facial plates instantly tightened. Boiling. The human nodded. Fresh. Laughter exploded across the courtyard. Even I joined. Fresh? Fresh poison? Ridiculous. A tiny airborne Kelly drone scanned the liquid. Its sensors beeped wildly. Temperature exceeds safe biological limits. More laughter. The Krell grinned. You forgot to cool it. The human shook his head. No. Silence. Then, he lifted the cup. Every thermal scanner screamed. White vapor rolled across his face. The liquid danced like molten crystal. He drank. Not a sip. A long drink. 5 seconds. 7. 10. He lowered the cup. Smiled. Perfect. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The Kelly drone malfunctioned. It believed its sensors had failed. I believed the human had already died. He didn't. Instead, he sighed with satisfaction. Several cadets stepped backward. The Krell looked horrified. I searched desperately for hidden medical equipment. There had to be cooling implants, internal insulation, artificial organs. Something. Anything. Nothing appeared. The instructor simply walked past. You finally found decent coffee? The human nodded. Close enough. The instructor chuckled, then continued walking. No alarm. No emergency. No concern. Meaning, this happened often. My thoughts became unstable. Perhaps humans lacked pain receptors. Yes, that explained everything. I updated my report immediately. Humans ignored thermal damage because they could not detect it. Elegant. Logical. Completely wrong. Combat physiology class began minutes later. Today's lesson involved battlefield endurance. Every species demonstrated biological weaknesses. The insectoid races feared vibration. The crystal races feared resonance. My species feared dehydration. The instructor listed every vulnerability, then stopped beside Lieutenant Mason. Human. The class waited. What is your greatest environmental weakness? He considered, then shrugged. Depends. Wrong answer. Every species had limits. The instructor smiled strangely. Expand. Cold kills us eventually. Reasonable. Heat kills us eventually. Also reasonable. Lack of oxygen. Naturally. Lack of water. Expected. Lack of hope. The room became silent. Translation software hesitated. Hope. Not chemical. Not biological. Not measurable. The instructor accepted the answer. No correction. No explanation. I recorded it anyway. Clearly an idiom. Primitive species often invented imaginary conditions. Another puzzle solved. Wrong again. Training moved outside. Obstacle simulations. Live ammunition. Controlled explosions. Standard academy procedure. Cadets sprinted through shifting terrain while drones attacked overhead. The human remained average. Not fastest. Not strongest. Not smartest. That comforted me. Reality had returned. Humans exaggerated their reputation. Then the sirens changed. Different frequency. Not simulation. Real emergency. Every instructor froze. Orbital warning systems activated. A cargo shuttle had lost atmosphere control. It was falling directly toward the academy. Too fast. Too heavy. Thousands of tons. Impact calculations flashed above the field. Evacuation impossible. Time remaining. 43 seconds. Cadets scattered. Some screamed. Others prayed. I calculated survival probabilities. 0. Absolute 0. Then I noticed the human. He wasn't running. Of course. Humans froze under stress. The pattern fit perfectly. Weakness confirmed. He stared upward. Coffee still in one hand. Motionless. Satisfied. I almost pitted him. 35 seconds. The instructors yelled retreat orders. The human ignored them. 31 seconds. He placed the metal cup on the ground. Carefully. Why? 28 seconds. He removed his jacket. Folded it neatly. Why? 25 seconds. He looked toward the evacuation tunnels. Not at himself. At us. At every terrified cadet. Then he smiled. Not happily. Not proudly. Calmly. Like someone who had already solved a problem no one else could even understand. For the first time in my existence, fear stopped feeling cold, and I realized I had never once seen a human panic. The shuttle was 25 seconds from impact. Every calculation inside my mind collapsed into the same answer. Death. Certain. Mathematical. Beautifully unavoidable. The academy alarm screamed louder. Emergency drones filled the sky. Professors abandoned formation. Command officers shouted conflicting orders. Discipline dissolved into instinct. That made sense. Every intelligent creature chose survival first. Every creature, except the human. Lieutenant Mason walked toward the falling shuttle. Not ran. Walked. Slow. Measured. Almost relaxed. I immediately understood his mistake. His primitive brain had entered fatal shock. He no longer recognized danger. That was my next mistake. The instructors noticed him. Lieutenant. Retreat. He never looked back. Instead, he touched the communicator inside his collar. One sentence. Everyone stay behind me. Absurd. Behind him? Behind one fragile mammal? The shuttle weighed more than 3 mountains. My fear became confusion. 20 seconds. The burning transport ripped through the clouds. Flames covered its hull. Metal peeled away like dying skin. Pieces crashed into nearby cliffs. Each fragment alone could destroy entire buildings. The shockwave reached us before the shuttle did. Cadets fell across the ground. I buried my face beneath my arms. When I looked again, the human was still standing. His hair moved in the blast. Nothing else. 18 seconds. The shuttle rotated again. Direct collision. Straight toward the academy's civilian wing. Children live there. Families. Medical staff. Engineers. Nearly 6,000 souls. The instructors understood. No evacuation would finish in time. One whispered the ancient surrender prayer. Another simply closed 4 of his 6 eyes. Humans. I thought. Now he finally runs. He didn't. Instead, he whispered something. I barely heard it. Not today. 16 seconds. He reached into his pocket. No weapon. No explosive. Only a small black transmitter. He pressed it once. Nothing happened. I laughed despite my terror. Primitive optimism. Pointless ritual. Then, space itself answered. The air trembled. Not from the shuttle. From somewhere beneath reality. Every scanner around me exploded into warnings. Gravity fluctuating. Electromagnetic collapse. Unknown energy source. Unknown. 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 The Academy computers stopped trying to classify it. The sky split. Not visually. Physically. Like invisible hands pulling reality apart. A black shape emerged. Silent. Massive. Impossible. No engines. No heat. No sound. Just darkness. An entire warship. Human. It had been cloaked beneath orbital distortion the entire time. Waiting. Watching. I stared in disbelief. Humans had hidden a battleship above the Academy. No government knew. No sensors detected it. Every military intelligence agency in the galaxy had failed. That frightened me far more than the falling shuttle. The hidden vessel moved. Not fast. Instantly. One moment orbit. Next moment atmosphere. It ignored acceleration. Ignored inertia. Ignored every law my civilization worshipped. The shuttle was 12 seconds away. The black ship extended enormous mechanical arms. No weapons fired. No explosions. No heroic beam. Just hands. It caught the burning shuttle, like an adult catching a falling child. The impact should have shattered continents. Instead, silence. The shuttle stopped. Perfectly. Floating. Held. Every alarm died. Every calculation vanished. Thousands of tons. Frozen in midair. The warship slowly lowered the crippled transport onto an empty training field. Emergency crews rushed forward. Doors opened. Passengers stumbled out alive. Crying. Laughing. Holding each other. Not one civilian had died. The courtyard remained completely silent. No one applauded. No one celebrated. Our minds had not yet accepted reality. I reached only one conclusion. Humans secretly controlled gravity. Wrong. Again. The battleship disappeared as quickly as it arrived. Space folded. Darkness closed. Gone. As though nothing had happened. Only scorched marks remained. The instructors exchanged terrified looks. None of them seemed surprised. That disturbed me most. How often had humans done impossible things? The Academy commander approached Lieutenant Mason. She saluted. Not casually. Formally. Deeply. Thank you. He shrugged. Just another Tuesday. Another Tuesday. Entire civilizations would write history around this event. Humans assigned it a weekday. My thoughts began unraveling. Later that evening, I found him alone. He was making coffee again. Steam drifted upward. The same impossible drink. The same calm expression. I finally asked, "Why didn't you run?" He looked at me for several long seconds. I did. You never moved. I ran through options. I failed to understand. He smiled. Humans train before emergencies. We imagine disasters. We fail inside our heads. Again, and again, and again. So, when the real thing comes, he lifted the steaming cup. We've already survived it 1,000 times. I dismissed the explanation immediately. Imaginary practice could not prepare biology. Fantasy changed nothing. Another comforting human myth. Another wrong conclusion. The next morning proved it. Combat survival examination. Final exercise. No instructors. No warning. Just reality. Halfway through the course, hidden explosives detonated beneath us. Not simulated. Real. A mountain wall collapsed. Thousands of tons of stone thundered toward our squad. Cadets scattered. Exactly as evolution demanded. I ran too. Then I heard something. A child. One of the maintenance workers' young daughters had wandered into the restricted valley. She stood frozen, directly beneath the avalanche. Impossible to reach. Impossible to survive. Every calculation agreed. I stopped. Not from courage. From certainty. Watching inevitable death required no energy. The human did not stop. He accelerated. Straight toward the child. I screamed at him. Wrong direction. He ignored me. Of course. Humans never listen to logic. He reached the child just as the avalanche struck. Dust swallowed them both. Stone buried everything. Silence. Several cadets wept. Even instructors lowered their heads. The human pattern had finally ended. He had sacrificed himself. Predictable. Noble. Fatal. Then, the rocks moved. One stone, then another. A hand emerged. Human. Bleeding. Broken. Still moving. Lieutenant Mason crawled out carrying the little girl in both arms. She was laughing. He wasn't. His left arm hung uselessly. His ribs bent unnaturally beneath torn skin. Blood soaked the ground. He should have collapsed. He didn't. Instead, he asked only one question. Is she okay? Not. Am I? Not. Did we win? Only. Is she okay? The medic answered yes. Only then did the human fall. I finally understood the pattern. Every morning, the coffee. Every emergency, the calm. Every impossible choice, the smile. I had believed humans ignored pain. I had believed they could not feel fear. I had believed they survived because they were stronger. I had been wrong every single time. Humans feel everything. The heat, the fear, the agony. They simply decide something else matters more. Weeks later, I stood alone with a cup of human coffee. Steam burned my face. My hand shook. I could not drink it. Not because it was too hot. Because I finally understood what it represented. It was never about the coffee. It was practice. A daily reminder that comfort was optional. That pain was temporary. That impossible things begin with one deliberate choice. I poured it onto the ground. Not in disgust. In respect. Because I knew I would never become what humans already were. I once believed humans swallowed liquid hotter than living blood. Now I know the truth. The hottest thing humans ever learned to swallow was fear. If you enjoyed this HFY sci-fi story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more epic human versus galaxy adventures. Tell us in the comments, would you dare drink that boiling coffee?